Hello and welcome to the Alpha 14 FC podcast. I'm Alex, Crystal Palace fan.
Tom, West Ham fan.
This is your podcast for everything not top six. Tired of your team being last a match of the day and not getting the flowers they deserve, but that's about to change. Tom, what do we have for listeners this week? Apart from, did you see Paul Tierney was in the middle of a Chelsea huddle? Did you see it?
Yeah, I did have that as a note for that match just because of how bizarre it was. But this week, stalemates all over the gaff, as you were in the relegation race, as the bottom seven all recorded draws. Newcastle and Brighton were our only 3-point collectors from the other 14 in match week 30. And how's the motherland treating you?
Yeah, it's been quite good. I mean, I've been working the whole time I've been here, so I've barely been able to go outside. I think the only day it was meant to be sunny was yesterday, and I was sat inside working the whole day, so that was a complete waste. But yeah, apart from that, all good. Really nervous for the game on Thursday now. For anyone that hasn't clocked it, I'm in Cyprus for the Palace's Conference League game against Larnaca. So yeah, when booking the tickets, I didn't think there was actually a possibility Palace could lose that game and get knocked out. So kind of regret my decision a bit now.
Drawing the first leg is pretty poor, given West Ham beat these lot a few years ago in the Conference League.
Yeah, but we did lose to them at home in the group stage, so we did a little bit better, I guess.
Well, surely you can win this one.
God, I hope so. If it goes to penalties or whatnot, I don't know. I think I'll be able to take it because I think I'm in the home end for the game as well. So we're going to try and sneak into the away end, hopefully. But yeah, if there's penalties and we get knocked out, I'm in the home end. I'll be a broken man coming back to London on Saturday morning. Yeah, how's everything back at home anyway on your end?
Yeah, not too bad. The weather is changing. Went out for a nice walk yesterday, so summer is finally coming. There's a little bit of serotonin in my life, so
It's hard to believe you go out on walks in between NFL, Pokemon, and West Ham. Like,
I need to touch grass at some point. I can't end up like Louis Theroux's Manosphere lot. I need to get outside and touch grass.
Mate, I was waiting for you to pop up on that at some point.
I was waiting for you to pop up on that.
What are you talking about, mate? You're the one pumping iron at the gym. That's what it is.
Hey, I'm saying you're prime incel, like.
Fuck all right. I don't think either of us can talk about incels with beards like we have. We're in trouble all day long. But anyway, before we get too deep into it, should we take a break and get into the games?
Let's do it, man.
Okay, and we're back. So, Tom, where do you want to start this week? I don't think it was the best week for the other 14 sides, really, was it? And then there wasn't really much action with sad 0-0 corner really full up this week.
Yeah, a lot of sad nil corner, a lot of draws. We like to start with the wins. It wasn't even a couple of amazing wins, but I have gone for Chelsea nil, Newcastle 1 as the standout match of the week. And as you mentioned at the top, I did have to mention that bizarre Chelsea huddle where the ref was just inside it. It was like something from like Curb Your Enthusiasm or like Arrested Development or some brand, like some sort of sitcom. It's like what is going on there?
It really is, isn't it? I just can't believe how much it's been all over my socials. It's still popping up in my socials now. Like, I get it. He was in the middle of the huddle. I do not care this much. Like,
No, and apparently they didn't do it last night at the Chelsea in the Champions League match. But anyway, enough on that Chelsea part. Newcastle started a bit slow in this game. I think they were on the back foot a little bit in the first 10-15 minutes, but then they got their breakaway opportunity through Joe Willock, really, really well timed run, and then just a really smart decision from a player who's probably had a tough few years. I remember when he came on loan to Newcastle. I think it was on loan originally, and he scored like in 7 games in a row or something crazy. It was when Steve Bruce was still there, I believe, and I think he kind of kept them up that season. And then I think Eddie Howe comes in after that, and the new owners come in, or they may have just been there, but he kind of got pushed to the side a little bit, Joe Willock. I'm sure he's probably had injuries in this time as well, but he kind of felt like the forgotten man over the last few years for Newcastle, and he's had maybe a little bit of a run recently, a bit more game time than he had done in previous in the last couple seasons. But yeah, just a really, really smart run from him, and a really good run from him, and smart decision to pass it to to Gordon for a tap in, and Newcastle gained a lot of confidence from that.
Yeah, I feel like with Willock, he was also each transfer window, well, last two at least, it always seems like he's being shipped out to someone. We've been like having news stories about us maybe taking him, and I probably would take him as a player in all honesty, even just as a squad player to begin with, because he does do things like this, and he seems to always make headlines when he plays for Newcastle, it seems like. But he made Reece James look a bit silly in this, I'm not going to lie. I don't. It's a really well timed run, isn't it, to get him behind? But it leaves a lot to be asked for the Chelsea back line also. Well, it looks like that at least. And then the very sweaty goal to put it across the box for your friend Diana to make it 1-0 for Newcastle.
Yeah, not the smoothest tap in from Gordon. He kind of takes a couple of unnecessary touches there, but really, really good run from Gordon. I think it was Fofana he was up against, and he leaves him like Fofana's like 10 yards behind him, like and really good from Willock as well because one thing about Reece James, he's not that good a footballer, but he does have a lot of pace, and
Yeah, and he makes
Willock
him look
is
like he's
able.
running through treacle, doesn't he?
Exactly,
It's
and Willock is able to like get away, get the ball off before Reece James even comes and makes a tackle on him. So yeah, really good. And then Newcastle claims for a penalty. Reece James on Malik Toure. Not for me. It was a bit
mm,
soft.
no, that one was definitely soft. There was another one in the game, the Voltemada one. I don't know how that one isn't given.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm surprised that they didn't have one given against them when Voltemada. I wouldn't say it's Stonewall, but Voltemada's foot does catch Cole Palmer's foot, and I do think that they're more often given.
well, that's the thing. Like, I'm happy a decision doesn't go for a top six side, but
Mhm.
it to me it's blatant, man. Like, if VAR is looking at that, how's not giving it? He just clearly kicks him a bit, and yeah, they've been given most of the time this season.
I think
So
it balanced itself out though, because I'm sure my memory is not failing me here, but I'm sure it was the reverse fixture where Gordon went down under a Chelsea tackle. It might have even been Palmer, and they didn't give a penalty for it when it felt a pretty blatant penalty. I'm sure it was this game. I'm sure my memory's not letting me down, but Newcastle fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was one pretty egregious non-penalty decision earlier in the season for Newcastle. So I know you're a fan of the old saying that they balance them out over the season.
yeah, I really am. But I would agree. I would say I believe you, but there's been so many bad decisions this year that yeah, it could just be in one of the hundreds that we've talked about over the season. But
That's the
yeah,
thing. That's my problem with the balancing it out. Is that there's so many bad decisions. Where
like
just
give him a
stop doing the
cliche.
match. You need NASA. Like,
But yeah, I mean, I think Newcastle got what they got the luck that they deserved in this game. Like they did have Chelsea under pressure. Ramsdale pulled out a few big saves. Really, I think he's looking better than Nick. Do you think he's looking better than Nick Pope was between the six for him?
well, they've benched Nick Pope recently for Ramsdale, so Eddie Howe's seemingly of the same belief. And I think if you took this game in isolation, then yes, for sure. But then also he was, I think, man of the match of the Man United game, so he's definitely come in and done well. And I think throughout the season, when he had came in, he maybe hadn't done as well as he would have hoped. So I think he's this is his last opportunity really because he's only on loan for the season, and I
Is it
don't
only a
know if
loan?
there's
Oh shit! I didn't
yeah, I
realize
don't
that.
know if there's an obligation or anything,
Yeah.
so it's kind of I think he feels like he's playing for his Newcastle career at this point, and also he's playing for his career as well because what's this now? Like he got sold to Southampton and now he's on loan at
Oh
Newcastle.
my God, he's on loan from Southampton. I didn't even. I thought he was on loan from Arsenal still. Completely forgot about the Southampton move. Because
Yeah,
this was a Southampton move part of like his. What was he? He's just collecting relegations with clubs, isn't he? Because he did it with.
yeah,
Was it Sheffield United, then Bournemouth, then
hmm
Southampton? Am I missing
yeah.
anyone on that list?
I don't think so because
Don't
he
think
was at
so.
Arsenal after Bournemouth and then went to Southampton
God,
and
he is really playing for his career now, thinking about it.
yeah,
That
and
is.
he's not that old. Like I think I want to say he's still under 30, but that let me double check that Aaron Ramsdale
No, I think he
quickly.
is because
Google.
I remember watching the beginning of that Arsenal
Yeah,
Amazon
27.
Prime. What, 27? Yeah, I remember watching the beginning of that Arsenal Amazon Prime documentary, and like his family and that supporting him, and it was just like this boy's a kid,
Yeah,
and
like he was like 22 when he went to Arsenal or something. So like he's only 27 for a goalkeeper. That is a baby.
yeah, God, where does he go next after this? That's, but yeah, I
Well,
guess he's putting in the
I think that's the
performances.
thing. Like I think Newcastle. I think he's if he can play well, if he keeps this job until the end of the season, then he's played well enough, and I think Newcastle probably make that deal permanent.
Do you think clubs kind of realize the problem of having two starting keepers? It doesn't work for more than a season. We've seen it twice now with, what was it, Dean Henderson and Sam Johnston and Guaita. Like
Oh,
you
I
can have
think
two good keepers, but if you haven't got, I say if they don't have Champions League, one of them's going to want to go and play regularly. But then does Ramsdale have the choice to do that? I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think Ramsdale has the choice to do that. I also don't think Nick Pope would have the suitors in big teams to do that because Nick Pope is a really good shot stopper, but he's pretty useless with his feet. Ramsdale can do more. Like Ramsdale's always been a player who can do a bit more with his feet, and he's also a pretty good shot stopper. I think he's a bit more of a balanced goalkeeper, and Nick Pope's probably the better of the like shot stoppers.
Yeah, I've got
But
so
I
much
don't.
PTSD from Nick Pope pulling out massive saves in games, like literally so much. Just like, oh yeah, he's going to have the game. I imagine almost every fan says this when they play Newcastle. Nick Pope's playing, but he has the game of his life always against us. It seems because he pulls out worldy saves, and he doesn't really have to worry about using his feet because we shit the bed when we play Newcastle and just let them run straight through us.
That's the thing. He's a brick wall, but if Newcastle want to build as a club, they want to have more possession. That inevitably means they want a goalkeeper who can play with the ball, kind of thing. Ramsdale is the younger of the two. He's probably the got the highest ceiling of the two. I can understand the opinions that would lead Newcastle to go, right, thank you, Nick Pope, but we're gonna switch to Ramsdale going forward. We'll see what happens in the summer and how he gets on for the rest of the season. But he's made a good fist of it for the last couple of games. Let's see if he can continue that.
Yeah, exactly that. Talking about keepers as well, Sanchez pulls out a pretty good save from a Gordon strike towards the end of the game, and yeah, I think, like I said, I think Newcastle kind of got what they deserved out of the game. Anything else you want to touch on from the game at all?
Uh, One more decision. Chelsea trying to claim for a handball on Botman was absolutely pathetic, led by that absolute mug Cucurella. Like it was just the stupidest shout. He's like a foot away from the ball. His arm is right tucked into his side, and it almost kind of hits his chest anyway. It like kind of hits his arm chest. Is never a penalty in the world, but yes. Anyway, it was a stupid claim. But yeah, no, Newcastle just had to work really, really hard for that 3 points. I think they conceded plenty of chances, but Ramsdale stepped up, and it's a big, big 3 points for them. They've got the derby next week, and you know it takes them up into the top 10. They I think we were talking last time around the that race for seventh, kind of it feels like, and that puts Newcastle back in the mix. As I said, I think they were like 11th or something before the weekend. It takes them up to ninth, 3 points off Brentford in seventh. They've got to
Yeah,
be gunning for that seventh position.
yeah, especially like in that cluster of teams that got two wins on the bounce, probably got the best form out of everyone. I just know they're going to lose the derby next week because of my predictions. It's hard to say actually because Sunderland absolutely. It seems like they're plummeting, even though they had a good result last weekend. It does seem like they're plummeting quite a bit now, and all those points they got early in the season, really, yeah, are really coming in clutch for them at the moment. I guess is that probably a good way to move on to the Sunderland Brighton game.
Great way to move on. Look at you.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this game because it annoyed me. So I will say the Minter goal is strange, particular. I don't want to say cheeky because I don't want to say he meant it, but yeah,
I
I'll
definitely
guess
not meant it, surely. Like it is
that.
such a weird, weird goal. Like first off we have to talk about like it's a terrible corner, and then two, Diarra goes on the floor after being pushed by Dunk. I know because of who was involved in that, you're screaming, that's a foul, free kick,
I mean, it
stop
looks
the game.
weird. It looks weird when you see the goal and he's just like curled up in a ball in the far corner. It's
Well,
just
what I
like,
think happens is he gets pushed. It's not the push that makes the contact. He falls back, and I think his head clatters into Van Hecker's knee. So
oh,
like the back of his head hits his it hits Van. I think it's Van Hecker. He hits his knee, who's running toward like so. It's like a clash of like Diarra's head going backwards, Van Hecker's knee going forward. And I don't know if you've ever taken a knee to the head, it's a sore one. It's not like I can understand why he was down for a few minutes, especially like he looked like he was going to come up and then he was like, actually, I need a minute. Like this is
yeah,
actually quite difficult. Like, and it's a head injury, so Sunderland fans could feel aggrieved to be like, why is the play still going on? It doesn't go on for like a long time, but he's on the ground, he's holding his head. I can see why I would feel aggrieved if I was a Sunderland fan in that situation.
yeah, I'd feel pretty bad about it as well. I mean, like I say, the optics of it, it's just there, like he's down holding his head. You got to be like, why is the ref not blown? I mean, I won't get too bitter about it. Like with Brighton winning, I do it too often, and screw it. They can have this one. They can have this one all day. Do you think it was more Brighton playing well in this game, or do you think it's just the Sunderland decline, that especially at home? Like, would you have called the Brighton winning at Sunderland 5 games ago?
Uh, I mean, probably not. Like this is Sunderland losing three home defeats in a row now, but I do think a draw would have been fair in this game. I think Sunderland did create chances. They have the goal disallowed for I think it's Chris Rigg who gets his disallowed goal. Rightfully so. Alderete was offside, but it's just gutting for the 18-year-old that his first Premier League goal gets chalked off. Chelsea and Talby has a shot blocked off the line. I think Sunderland created enough, and I think this was a very, very even game. It probably should have ended 1-1 after that, and the goal, as we said, was such a weird goal
Well,
that I
if we get rid of the strange goal, maybe it should have ended up in sad 0-0 corner with the rest of the games from this weekend.
maybe it should have, to be honest, really, and then we would only be talking about how Minter kind of stayed on the pitch, to be honest, because he probably should have got sent off. I think it might have been a little harsh, but he lashes out at '09, gets a yellow card that is kind of an orange card anyway, because
Yeah,
it's like a little bit violent, a little bit it's off the ball kind of stuff. And then he like a couple minutes later lashes out at '09 with a tackle and
he did
sorry,
get him
not
the
'09
first
on that
time.
one.
And I was going
Yeah,
to say,
yeah. And then like yeah, and then it's so quick after that it feels like the referee was like, oh, I can't book him again, but that's it. I mean, he stopped an attack. Like that's generally just a yellow card every day of the week. Like
I mean, this isn't the only time we're going to talk about yellow cards being given and red cards being given in this pod. We've probably got to touch on it in the Palace game in sad 0-0 corner quickly. But yeah, it's
oh, look who wants to talk about no-nos now.
no, I don't want to talk about it, but it's so bad. Let's just do it now because it links to this. How Brendan Johnson doesn't get sent off and is madness, and then the Vincent sending off where the referee has given a soft yellow card because he's like, oh yeah, I can just give one, not realizing that he's already booked him and he sent him off is hilarious. It's the most batshit Premier League thing I've seen in a while, and I'm just
Oh,
amazed
and
it
he
wasn't
didn't
Sam
want to say he
Barrett.
did, and he completely forgot that he'd given them a yellow because
Yeah,
he was
he's
like
there
walking
like
around for ages, and everyone's like, "You've booked him, like he's already on a yellow. He's gonna have to send him off now." And he's like, "La di da, this is nice, isn't it? Ah, Selhurst Park. It could do with some renovation over here." And everyone's like, "No, mate, you need to like get back in the game." Like,
he shit the bed. I imagine his like arsehole fell out when he like realised, oh my god, I'm actually going to send him out off now. But then when he gets the chance to redeem himself by sending Johnson off for what is clearly another yellow, just doesn't do it. Just doesn't fucking do it.
nah.
It's just
Bottled it. Anyway,
absolute bother.
that's
But yeah,
that's 0-0 corner, but yeah, I think Sunderland can feel slightly aggrieved in this one. I think they sort of come off just the luck of the draw really didn't come for them, but then it also is morality damaging because, as you say, you've got the derby next week. It's at Newcastle, this one, I believe. So you've had you, it's not at home, so the record away from home hasn't been as bad in recent weeks. But yeah, Sunderland, big chance to bounce back against Newcastle, but it's going to be tough.
I think they'll bounce back. I just do. I know it's all gut and like whatever, but I just see them winning it. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean that was my prediction at the beginning of the season, and it'll stick like that. Cool. Anything else you want to touch on, or do you want to move on to your 1-1 draw of City, which I now hope you get relegated for?
Yeah, you're probably the only person outside of uh, Leeds, Forest, and Spurs fans who weren't happy with us drawing. Um,
I don't know. A lot of the country was very disappointed with you. I gave Forest a lot of shit for drawing 2-2 with City, so I'm going to give you the same amount of shit. Why do you want everyone to be sad and Arsenal fans to be happy? Explain
I
yourself.
don't care. I don't care about anything except for West Ham staying up, mate. My situation is too dire. I need to focus on one thing before I can even start looking at the rest of the table. And this was a massive point gained for West Ham. It was. I know everyone else drew at the weekend, so it didn't really change anything, but this was a game that everyone expected us to lose. Like we were saying it in predictions, like Man City batter us. Haaland scores 2-3 against us every time. This was just the second time in 11 games against us that Haaland hasn't scored since he's been in the Prem.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, it's
Like,
absolutely.
and he scored multiple goals in a lot of those games as well. And the man who was at the heart of everything for West Ham was Konstantinos Mavropanos, the Greek
Mate,
Adonis himself.
mate, he's making us look silly, well, making me look silly. We wrote him off earlier this season. I think West Ham fans had written him off this season as well, hadn't you?
Man fans have
But
written him off for the last 2 years. He's been a below average to terrible signing in his time at West Ham, but he just absolutely in this run recently under Nuno, he's looked much better, and also without Max Kilman in the lineup when he's got Axel Disasi or Jean-Claude Todibo next to him, like he's looked like a rock, a man mountain.
it's crazy you had to take your £14 million central defender out to make that us better. But
Yeah, someone
fair
who had
enough.
previously worked successfully under Nuno, and it's just not worked with Kilman at all. So, but
Mate,
Dinos, he was heading everything in this game. Went to a back five, which Nuno is gonna do under against a top six team. It was peak Nuno ball, just defended with every man for 90 plus minutes. One shot on target, one goal. That's all you needed. And Dinos gets our first centre back goal for almost 2 years.
mate, what? First centre back
Legit,
goal
like
for 2 years.
April 2 years ago was the last time a centre back scored for us.
So that's outrageous. When was the last time
Our own
Bowen or
centre
some
backs have
of
scored in our own net many a time since then, but
that's unbelievable. It's literally just Bowen and Somerville that have been scoring for you. It's that, isn't it? When was the last time someone wasn't them scored as well? My
yeah, I
God,
mean Tati's got a couple like Suchek pops up every few games, but really apart from that, our attacking options don't get many goals.
mate, that's an unbelievable stat. I can't believe that at all. But yeah, like you say, it was back to the walls, defending throughout the game, frustrated City. I think, yeah, I think City are usually able to unlock teams in this scenario, but yeah, they just couldn't do it for you. You sorted out the keep. Would you say you sorted out the keeper situation now?
I think so. Yeah, Hermanson has been really good in recent weeks. Take that Liverpool match out of the game where we conceded five. A couple of them were deflections, like three terrible defending at corners. Hermanson has really stepped up with some massive saves, including in this game. There were a couple of really big saves down low, grasping onto the ball. He's he's collecting the ball a little bit better than he was doing previously. But he's also just, I think looks more confident. He feels more confident. I mean, he was chucked in at the deep end at the start of the season. He had like one day of training before that Sunderland match that Potter stupidly was like, "All right, you've just signed." Despite Areola playing all pre-season, you're going straight into the lineup, which it was never going to work, and it really, really damaged his confidence. And he had a terrible run, and he was at fault for some of that as well, for sure. He has to take his own portion of the blame, but he looks much, much better now. And yeah, I think he looks much more confident in his back line with Disassi, with Dinos, and that. Like, we look, we look like we know what we're gonna do out there. And yes, it can be defensive. Yes, it can be a bit boring at times, but like compared to Lopetegui, compared to Potter, I know what the team are gonna do when they're out there. I know
Well,
what they're trying to do.
it's what you got to do in this position. You've got to play for the clean sheet because it gives you a better points average to be able to stay up. It's that simple. And the fact you went 1-0 down to what was an insane chip from Silva, I don't think he meant it as much as people want to believe he meant it.
No,
Like,
I think he's trying to find Haaland at the back post.
yeah, exactly. But then the fact you get back into the game, it says a lot about this West Ham team. I don't think you go 1-0 down, especially under Potter, probably at the beginning of Nuno Reina. I don't think you go 1-0 down to City and you come back into it. I think you completely crumble. So
Oh yeah, for
it
sure.
is something's happening at West Ham and you can see it. And that's why, yeah, that's why my prediction of you guys going down feels a bit, I feel a bit shaky with it now. Bit,
Well, it was like we got out of the relegation zone on Saturday night because everyone else down there played on Sunday. So it did feel like quite momentous to be like, right, for the first time since December, I think it is, we're out of the relegation zone, even if it's only for 24 hours or well, not even that, like 10 hours, because we played at stupid o'clock on Saturday night. 8 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday night is rubbish, by the way. Like awful, especially as
yeah,
someone who doesn't drink. It's just like, well, what are we waiting for? Like, I just I like Saturday afternoons at the football, and then I can go home and have a chill evening. Um,
mate,
but
wait till you
yeah,
get Newcastle away at 8 p.m. on Saturday. That that's the one where it'll be like, why have they done this? There'll be no away fans travelling up from London for that. Like Fair and Sea fans that made it, well, came down for an 8 p.m. kickoff in London because yeah, you're staying that night afterwards because you've got no hope with the trains. But yeah,
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
kickoff
But
times.
yeah, nothing changes in the relegation picture, but this was a massive point gained, and hopefully continues the momentum that West Ham have.
Yeah, I mean, it. I think, like you said, it's a really good result. Uncle Mark has the chance to win it right there at the end and fluffs his line. So I think you guys got away with it there, but probably deserved with defensive display. We might as well talk about the relegation battle now because every other team is in sad 0-0 corner. Like you say, nothing really changes. I guess it's still all on a knife edge.
Yeah, I mean the Tottenham result was annoying because it was like like Liverpool just was shit. They, in the second half, they just didn't put them away. But the optimistic side of that is it keeps Igor Tudor at the club, and hopefully that hopefully they can. Well, they've got Forest next. We'll talk about some predictions probably, but they've like that. I'm hoping is a draw, a bloody draw, where everyone gets injured, everyone gets sent off,
Hey,
and
hey,
yeah, they take each other out.
I think you need to stop. I think West Ham and Forest fans need to stop the hate towards each other and unite. And yeah, unite against Spurs, I guess. Because,
Well, I just need as many teams down there as possible. Like, I just need as much, like, because if one of those wins, then it's like, they're like a few points ahead now. Like, I need those three teams to just keep drawing and taking punches against each other, and then West Ham just jump out of there, please.
well, I saw a reel from a West Ham fan where it's like technically now it's in your own hands, which it hasn't been before. Because obviously Spurs and Forest play each other, so both of them can't win. So if you
Mm.
won all your games going forward, obviously you won't, then you're fine.
Oh, great!
But
We're gonna win.
yeah.
We're gonna win 8 games for the rest of the season. And finish tenth.
Hey, mate, Rob Green said, what was it? You need to win 3 games in a row now to be able to have any chance of staying up. And then you hadn't done it in 2 years or something after you lost to Forest, and then you went and did it straight away. So who knows? But nah, it's yeah, it's going to be an interesting one after, like you say, after the Forest Spurs game. But we can talk more about that in predictions. So cool. Anything else you want to touch on the game, or do you want to move on to Brentford Wolves?
Now let's move on to Monday night.
Yeah, a bit of a weird game all round for me, this one. Do you think I'm going to keep saying it, but you think Wolves can do it? Can they stay up?
If they'd have won this game, which they absolutely had the chances to do so, I would have been like, maybe, maybe like that would have put them on 19 points, like 10 behind West Ham, and the form that they've been in. It's like I think I saw earlier last night they're in like Champions League form, like one of the top five teams in form in the league this in recent matches, but it's just going to be, they've got just too much ground to make up, and they had the chances to win this 3-2 probably, and they didn't take them. So I do just think it's too far for Wolves. If they come out of this, then it will be the most sensational Great Escape there's ever been, I think.
Mate, it says a lot that when I was suggesting this like a few weeks ago, it was like laughable. But the fact you
Hmm.
kind of take it a bit seriously is it shows what the turnaround has been at Wolves, and I think it makes our 1-0 win against them at Sellers look a lot better than it felt at the time. Because it's mad. We said at the beginning of the season, Wolves always seem to be in games, but they just couldn't get it over the line. They seem to be
Hmm.
getting it over. Well, they seem to be putting performances in and getting some of them over the line now. I think a little bit of it may have been complacency from Brentford. Would you agree? I think Kyoto puts him ahead with a lovely header from the cross, and Thiago scores another sweaty goal from Otara cross after a long ball from Kelleher. But after that, I just feel like Brentford probably felt like the job was done.
Well, Thiago hits the woodwork to stop it being 3-0, and then they really took their foot off the gas. And you're right that it really felt like they were just like, We'll see this out. It's Wolves, they're bottom of the table," but not taking into account that Wolves have been playing better recently, that they've got a couple of results. It's almost like they took Wolves as like an extrapolated team across the season and was like, well, they're not that good. They must like they're bottom of the table. 2-0 should be fine here. And also, I think they said in the commentary, I'm probably going to get the stats slightly wrong, but I think they said it was like they've they've been leading 2-0 at home in their last at, in 49 different games, and they've only dropped points in one of them in that time. Like when they've been
Jeez.
leading 2-0 at home in the last 49 games, when they've been leading 2-0 at home, they've dropped points in one of those games because they that Brentford generally don't do that. Like they don't go up and then concede. They don't really take their foot off the gas like this and get caught out. But they did, and Wolves took advantage. That goal just before half time from Armstrong, where despite the back pass,
I was
is
gonna
a
say we're
great
gonna
move
talk
by
about the back
Wolves.
pass. We've got
I
to talk
mean, it's
about
a
the
back
back
pass. Like
pass.
they've got away with one.
I mean, it's so clear. Refs just never give it. Like they never give it. And I was thinking, like, if you're not going to give it, do we just bin off the rule? But then obviously we go back to the keeper picking up the ball. It'll slow down the game even more. I don't want to imagine what Arteta's tactics would be like if the keeper could pick up the ball. Like,
Yeah, it'd be
but
insufferable. They'd go 1-0 up in the first minute and then not. Like then it'd be no football for 89 minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's a back pass. They got away with one. I think it's one of those that, as you say, they give it so rarely that the ref kind of didn't see it or didn't clock it at the
yeah.
time. But then after that, there's a
Well,
lot
no,
that a
the
lot
ref did
happens
clock
after it.
it. Like the ref did clock it, and just as like, oh yeah, just go on. So, but I mean, the rule's kind of there for a reason. It stops some of the back passes, I guess. But yeah, if I was a Brentford fan, I'd be absolutely raging at it. But like you say, a lot does happen. Bellegarde has a burst and run through the middle, and Armstrong scores the goals that everyone thought he would be scoring when he had that rich vein of form, like in a championship, what feels like 5 years ago now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone thought he would make the step up. I did too. I wanted him at West Ham, like to add to our striker woes. But I do also think Keller could do better with this one. I think he gets kind of caught out because it's not top corner. He gets a fingertips to it, and I think he's just caught out in his positioning. I don't think he thinks Armstrong's going to take it that soon.
Yeah, I think that's harsh. I think it's the whip he gets on it and how quick the ball comes at him. He isn't prepared. I mean, yeah, like you say, he's probably not expecting him to take it that early, but that's what a good striker does to catch the keeper off guard. I think, yeah, I think it's a bit harsh on the keeper there. And I like being
Maybe,
harsh on
maybe.
keepers.
You do.
Yeah,
But then Armstrong comes close a second time, hits the post. It was a really well worked move. Like they're so close. Kind of deserved a goal a little bit, that one.
yeah, 100%.
And
But
then
Rockadore gets the equaliser, bundling it home with the header, and
yeah,
then he
come
goes
on,
and hits the bar.
come on. This was his third touch of the ball. He gets this header that goes in, and then his fourth touch, he heads it against the bar that would have made it 3-2. Like talk about an impact substitution.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, isn't it? If he had won it for them, then yeah, I think as a West Ham, Forest, and Spurs fans, you got to be be fucking shaken a bit. But yeah, nonetheless, did you see the VAR check in this game as well?
Oh, what an embarrassment! What an embarrassment that we're VAR checking Lewis Potter flicking Mascara's ear. Like the game's gone. Game's gone, mate.
Do you know what? I back Mascara for not going down. Like he peels a little bit, but I back him for not going down and making an absolute meal of it. Like fair
If
enough.
it,
Give players dues when they like do something good, because there's a number of players in the Premier League that would have felt that on their and gone down like a sack of shit and been like, oh, it's a head injury, send him off. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, unfortunately, you're right. There are people that would have taken that and run with it, and it's just like, just it would have just been so embarrassing for Mascara if he'd have done anything else than what he did.
mate, you already referred to him in the pod, but if that happens to Cucurella, he's on the floor like he's been
Oh
shot in
yeah,
the head.
100%. Yeah, that
Like,
mug for sure. Like
yeah.
awful. But then Brentford have a chance to win it at the end after not playing particularly well in the second half. Reece Nelson, who I forgot again, plays for Brentford. I feel like every time I've like multiple times this season, although he's only made like 7 appearances for them, so it's probably been like 3 times I've seen him play this season and been like, oh yeah, Reece Nelson plays for Brentford.
Well, mate, I literally was doing my notes and I quickly glanced at my notes before we started. And I was like, Nelson should have won it. And I was like, Nelson didn't. Was he in the Arsenal game? But they won it? What the hell? Like, what? It's just,
Nelson
yeah.
from The Simpsons.
Oh, god damn. But yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
don't want
come
to
off his
say,
shoulder as well, so like he doesn't even head it. But
uh,
it's pretty poor. I mean, that is like typical of a rusty player.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's what you expect from him playing that few games and going on a. Did they buy him or was it a loan? We are talking way too much about Reece Nelson. Let's just move on. Should we move
I
on
think it's
to?
loan, but
Is it
yes.
cool? Should we move on to the losses to the top six teams for our 14 sides? We can probably do these quite quickly. Start with Arsenal 2, Everton nil. Can we just pretend this game was 86 minutes long, please? Because I think Everton did an absolute job for 86 minutes, and
I mean, it was another perfect away performance by David Moyes Everton up until 89 minutes or whatever it was that Gyökeres gets a tap in. The first half, especially, I thought Everton really coped with Arsenal. There's that incredible save from Pickford for Saka's header that he was offside from, and Pickford is gesticulating with the official for giving offside because I think it chalks off the save. So like he's like, "Come on, just give me the save, man!" Like, but then it would have gone out. It went out for a corner, so it's like probably better that, that he gives
yeah,
it offside, mate. Like you don't want to give a needless corner away.
no, 100%. I mean, McNeil has a couple of good chances. I mean, happy to see him in the Everton team and doing bits after everything that happened in the January transfer window, which I still think Palace were absolute shithouses for, which weren't great. But yeah, I'm happy to see
Well,
that.
Moyes has put down the Harrison Armstrong experiment that he was desperate to try and work with that I was very skeptical of for weeks, and he's gone, right, actually let me get a professional footballer in here. McNeil, come into the team. McNeil and Ndai caused Arsenal trouble in this one. McNeil has a couple of chances, as you say, insane block from Calafiori. I have to mention it on McNeil's shot, like the scorpion
Yeah,
one, like just
yeah.
ridiculous. But then
Even I put that in my notes. I was like, I really don't want to do this, but that block is outrageous.
have to
Like,
talk about it because there's
yeah,
like certain goal otherwise.
yeah,
But then it's the next one that I think McNeil is probably thinking back on because he is out like cutting inside, curls it, hits the post, and it's just so close to going in.
I feel like I've seen him score that goal against Palace like 4 times, like across his span with Burnley and Everton. I know he definitely had one like that at Goodison because I stood directly behind it at the away end and just watched it curl in when we lost 3-0. So yeah, I know he scored in him, and I think I got some shit early days of the pod when I was saying Harrison better than McNeil, and yeah, I've eaten my words big time.
Oh no, you were talking about Jack Harrison. I'm talking about Armstrong, the kid that
Oh,
they tried to play in January this year.
yeah, but still, I mean, my words. I'll eat my words all day. But yeah,
And then I think Keane was very lucky to not give away a penalty as well. But
I mean,
they
that's
kept
the
grinding.
like you say, it's the complete luck you get in a good away day performance. Like
Mhm.
they did it all, and Moyes must have been chuffed with himself for the majority of the game. But then I've got to agree with you. The Pickford T-Rex arms come showing up at the end of the game, and he just misses a cross that he should. Firstly, do you think he should be coming for it?
Not really.
I
No.
don't think he should be coming for it. I don't think that's in his wheelhouse, if I'm being honest. Like, it's just a silly mistake, and yeah, it probably hands Arsenal the title, which is really, really annoying.
Yeah, probably does. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Everton were just undone at the death in this game, and there's a better chance to equalise it. There's saved incredibly after that, but and then Arsenal get the finishing touch with the 16-year-old scoring, so props to
The
him. But
the
yeah,
only good thing about that is that it no longer means James Vaughan against Palace is the youngest scorer in Premier League history. So Everton, you lost your own record in that game as well. So yeah, that's the only good thing. That's one thing I had in pub quizzes because
what?
that was one of my first games I ever went to live.
Uh,
So yeah, I've been ingrained in my memory that goal. But yeah, anything else you want to touch on there? I think, like we said, Everton did everything right until the very end of the game where Pickford maybe has a rush of blood to the head. Maybe he's believed in this hype a bit too much after such good performances the last few weeks.
yeah, I mean, 1-0, 2-0. What's the difference in Everton's situation? Like nothing really. Like so, I don't really have a problem with him going up, trying to get that equaliser, and then them conceding a second.
Yeah. Oh no, I meant with coming out for the
Oh,
cross.
for the corner.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, cool. Move on to United Villa. Mate, tell me how Abraham curse. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Are you gonna admit it's a
Uh,
thing?
he does miss a couple of there's a couple of chances where he either passes it badly or he doesn't get a shot off, and I was like, yeah, Alex might be right on this one.
Mate, their form now, draw, loss, loss, loss. Just saying. Just saying I called it straight away.
Yeah,
It's,
it's bad. It's bad looking for Villa. They're going to lose again this weekend when the mighty West Ham come to Villa Park. But they just felt second best in this game throughout it. They were second to a lot of 50-50s. Konsa gets caught out again with a run in behind him. I mentioned it last time out. Something I'm really really aware of, that especially as he goes to the World Cup and is probably England's right centre back. Like if I'm any opposition manager, I'm going get my striker stood next to Konsa and float in behind him and get the ball in behind him, because repeatedly Konsa's shown that he can't defend that.
yeah, mate, it's that, isn't it? I kind of flip flop with him this whole season, where I've been like, he's complete dog shit. To actually, there's probably a player in there somewhere, but oh,
I
it's
still
it's
think he's
hard.
generally a good player, but there are weaknesses that are quite evident to, if they're evident to me, they're evident to your Nagelsmans, your world class managers across the board. Like they'll be looking at that.
Well,
It,
what do you think England's centre back's going to be? Gahey and Konsa.
I mean, I don't care because it's England, but like it is probably that. I mean, it
And they're
looks
both
slightly better now that Gay plays for Man City, doesn't it? Like they can be like, oh, we've got a Man City player, rather than it being Palace and Villa. Like
yeah,
they
but I
never would
mean,
have done that back in the day.
they're both susceptible to the exact same thing. That's the biggest issue. I mean, this isn't an England pod,
Great.
obviously, but it's literally balls in behind and strikers running at them. They both kind of shit the bed in it, so it's going to
Yeah,
be an
there's no
interesting
chance.
one.
There's no chance they're winning the World Cup.
I mean, if the World Cup even goes ahead at this rate, let's leave everything in conspiracy corner there, and we'll move into sad 0-0 corner. Actually, before that, give Villa props. I guess they were the only team that won in Europe this round. So I mean, eyes are probably all on that. I think I can just see their league form continuing to plummet now. Unfortunately, I would hope they can stay in the European race. I mean, they is that me being harsh? I
I
don't know
mean,
why.
I
I just
don't, I think I said this last week. I think they don't finish below sixth. I would be surprised if they plummeted that much. They've got a 6 point gap on Brentford at the moment. I do think
yeah,
they'll keep enough of it, but you're right. They probably have their eyes on the Europa League right now, and I think Liverpool, Chelsea probably will end up finishing above Villa in the league if unless Villa can go on a run like they did at the end of last season, where I think they won 5 of their last 10 games or something. They went on a decent run at the end of last season. They lost the last game, but they got themselves up from 10th to 6th or something. It was a decent run.
yeah. I think what the season's showing, and I kind of touched on it a few pods ago, is that the clubs with the more money and the bigger resources are really like floating to the top this year. And it's an odd one to really understand with why that's happened this year and so notable this year in the Premier League. But we can probably do that when we review it at the end of the season. But yeah, hopefully for Villa they can stay in the mix for it. But it just does feel like you say, Liverpool and Chelsea are probably gonna keep picking up the results and go above them. But yeah, cool. Anything you want to touch on in sad 0-0 corner? I guess the only thing I wanted to talk about was the absolute awful refereeing in the Palace Leeds game.
Yeah, I'll go through my very, very brief notes for sad nil corner. Burnley nil, Bournemouth nil. Did you see Zion Fleming cleared one onto the roof of Turf Moor? That was fun.
Fuck me, you're
Uh,
scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
it was fun. I watched that game in full as well, thinking, oh, you know what, let me give Burnley a chance. I haven't watched them full recently. Waste of time. Forest nil, Fulham nil. Watch that one. Cheers Fulham for nothing. I suppose at least you didn't bottle it and lose to Forest like you did to West Ham, but could have done with a win there, Fulham. So yep, cheers for nothing. Palace v Leeds. Cheers Palace for nothing. Could have beaten Leeds, but you couldn't even beat 10 men. Rubbish, and ref had a stinker. Eh?
Yeah, real stinker. I don't think there's
There's your
anything
notes for
else.
0-0 corner.
In all honesty, thank you, 0-0 corner this week because I have just had not had time between work and coming to Cyprus and everything. Like I needed 0-0 corner this week to be heavy, so thank you all those teams. Cool. Okay, let's move into our predictions then for next weekend. My laptop's on Cypriot time now, so I don't know what time these games are actually played back home. I'm guessing Bournemouth versus United on the Friday, isn't it a 10 p.m. kickoff? I guess it's the 8 p.m. Friday kickoff. How do you feel about that game?
Yeah, that would be harsh to the Man United fans who are travelling down from London to Bournemouth on Friday night. Bournemouth, yeah, it's a tricky one because Bournemouth have drawn their last 4 games. So I think they might make it 5 draws in a row. I'm gonna go. I might go Desmond here. I might go early Desmond 2-2.
I feel like we always predict Bournemouth to be Desmond. Like we always expected them to score 2 goals, but always concede two as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I'm gonna go. I don't know. I think United on a good run at the moment, and I don't think it's gonna end on the south coast. I'm gonna go probably 1-0 to United in a really shite game. Can move on to the Saturday early kickoff. I don't know how to describe this game without being insulting to my best mate. So the Danny James derby because he's both a Brighton and a Liverpool fan at the same time. He actually has one of those shirts that's half and half. It's
A half and
it's
half shirt. No, that's
yeah, half and half.
egregious. That is
It's
egregious.
absolutely awful, and he's an awful bloke as
Shocking
well, just to top
behaviour.
it all up top. But yeah, I'm gonna go for Liverpool to win, and everyone in the stadium's cheering and happy because they've got the result they want.
Uh, I mean, they looked pretty bad against Tottenham. I'm gonna go Brighton 1-0.
Cool. The only 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff. Is that correct?
Yes.
Fulham Burnley. Oh
Yeah,
God, what
because
a
City Palace got moved.
I don't even know where that game's moved to, but I'm guessing it's going to be the middle of the week somewhere, and I will not be able to go to that. But hey ho, cool. Probably going 1-0 Fulham in this one. I don't know why. I've got a feeling.
Yeah, I mean they haven't looked particularly good in recent weeks for them, but so I feel like they are due a bounce back.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 2-1 Fulham.
yeah. Inconsistent Fulham, but being the good side of that, inconsistent, I think. Cool.
Mm,
Then the 5:30 kickoff, Everton Chelsea at the Hill Dickinson. It's a hard one to predict, really.
really is. I think Chelsea are gonna. They've had a bad couple of weeks. I think they're gonna bounce back against Everton. I think it's gonna be 2-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Moyes curse against the top six is gonna come into full play and go 2-0 Chelsea for that one. Then the late kickoff at 8 o'clock, Leeds Brentford. Oof. I'm gonna go for Desmond in this one. I think that'll be goals.
I take it. I take it because I think Leeds can win this under the lights at Ellen Road. I do think with the backs against the wall, they just want to get themselves a little bit closer to safety. Gonna go 2-0 Leeds.
I just feel like if yeah, I think Thiago will be in form again with that goal. And I don't think Leeds will be able to close them down. Like a lot of teams do are able to close them down and they get on top of Brentford, but yeah, I just don't see it. Cool. Sunday, the early kickoff is at 12 o'clock. Newcastle,
Mhm.
Sunderland, the derby. I'm actually really looking forward to watching this. I missed the first one this season, but yeah, I'm hoping there's a lot of animosity in it. I hope it's a proper game. But I want to predict a Sunderland win because of what I predicted at the beginning of the season, but I probably see like a 1-1 for this game.
Uh, I I'll back Newcastle at home to get revenge against Sunderland. I'm gonna go 2-1 Newcastle.
Cool. Then was it 2:15 kickoffs? Any reasons 2:15? Do you know?
No idea.
Oh, because the cup fight, the Carabao Cup, whatever it's called, the League Cup final. That'll be it,
Mhm.
won't it? Yeah. Villa, West Ham. I don't see you getting anything at Villa. I don't know why. I know they're in bad form and the Tammy Abraham curse is real, but I'm gonna go probably 2-0 Villa here. I think it's just a one step too far.
I'm optimistic we can avoid defeat at least. I think it will be 1-1.
Fair. Then I guess the big one in the relegation battle, Spurs Forest. I know we have a
Massive.
we have my mate Phil, who's a very avid listener of the pod. I I need to hear from him when I'm back at work next week about how he's feeling about well how he felt about this game. But that's huge, and I don't know how to call it. I really don't know how to call it because
I'm going 2-2. I'm going three red cards and one ACL.
it does feel like it has the makings of complete lunacy. This match, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
And
just feels like someone's going to put a challenge in early that's a bit on the line, and then it could just dissolve, like it could just be chaotic.
but for me, Forest have the players to win this game comfortably. If Morgan Gibbs White and Elliot Anderson just take control in that midfield, I think they can take that game away from Spurs with absolute ease from basically what I saw when we played Spurs, like was it a week or two ago?
Hmm.
Like, Forest have the ability to win this game. So if they don't, it does feel like it's going to be on them. Does
For
that,
sure. Yeah,
it's,
no, I
yeah,
completely agree.
it must be a little bit frustrating as a Forest. Well, no, I guess they have been doing bits a bit more recently, but it's going to be huge. And that's going to send shockwaves really around the relegation battle, isn't it? Because could easily end with one of them being below you in the table. And I think when one of them drop below you in the table into that relegation zone with all games at the same tally, I think mentally that's gonna cause some issues for a team. Do you agree, or do you think I'm being quite over the top of it all?
I think if someone like Tottenham, with how fragile they've been in recent weeks, goes below us, and maybe Forest, because it does like at times feels like Forest aren't quite doing enough to get themselves out, that it might be a real head loss moment. It might be a real like around the ground, people might start dropping their heads kind of thing if they do drop into the relegation zone after a complete match week, where obviously different to this weekend where it was just dropping in there for a night. I think if they stay there for a week, fans might start getting like a bit a bit downtrodden, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
I've got more faith in Forest than I do probably Spurs drop into it. I just think the media circus around the Spurs, like being in a relegation zone, would be so big. It'd be
Yeah,
hard for the players not to take it in. Do you know what I mean? And
for sure.
it's absolutely
And
crazy.
something that they're completely not used to. Like Forest were in this situation a couple of years ago. They have several of those players who were in this situation, like where they were fighting for survival. So they're much more akin to this way of life than Tottenham are.
Man, that's a big Sunday. Like the derby and then that. It's gonna be a great watch. But cool. Anyway, wrap it up there. Feel free to rate and review the podcast. Tell your friends. Have your say on socials at TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Reddit at Other14FC Podcast. And feel free to email us in with tell us how bad our views are and how you could do it better at Other14FC Podcast at gmail.com. But yeah, otherwise, mate, I'll catch you next week after some relegation fun.
Enjoy the motherland.
Yeah, we'll do, brother. Cheers. Catch you later. Bye.
Good man.